Hello everybody, we're here at the International with Rob and Purge, who are handling the Weatherman segment. How are you guys doing today?
Doing very well. Good.
So this is your second year doing this. Of course you've got some experience under your belt. Was there anything new that you wanted to attempt or any challenges that you set for yourself when you were coming in to do this for the second time?
Well, we definitely felt there was a unique kind of... The whole segment was something that people hadn't seen before as much in the Dota scene last time, so it was fresh already, and now coming back into it, we do want to iterate and do something different, unique. It is day one, so we're not really sure what that is yet, but we definitely do want to do something new and different by the end of the event.
Yeah, my main point is probably we just want to up the quality consistency because last year we didn't have a whole lot of expectations, and then at Boston, Rob wasn't able to make it, so it was just me, so I was more like, can I do this by myself? And this time, since we have both, we just want to really hit consistency and really make it as crisp as possible.
And of course, you guys are here basically all day. You're going through so much footage. You're watching all the games. By the end of the event, does it become too tiring? How do you guys kind of keep fresh and coming back every day, willing to do all this work?
It certainly does become a blur by the end of it. But you will remember very specific moments that either you clipped out in the middle of the event or that were really memorable, and just having been able to observe every single game, you really absorb a lot more than you'd think. So, yeah.
Yeah. I would say food is important. Having people bring us food helps because we're too busy usually to go get it. So making sure that you're eating, taking the breaks when you get them, and sleeping a lot is really important. So last year by day 6 we were pretty dead. So hopefully it's not quite the same this year.
And you know, ever since your unique way of presenting all that information came on, there have been a fair share of imitators. I saw one on Riot actually. What do you guys do to kind of, like, how do you feel about people imitating that? Does it kind of give you that feeling of like you're doing something good and you want to keep putting out those new ideas?
Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily, we weren't the first necessarily, I know there's been other versions, but at least from my realm of reference point where I thought, or I knew I was one of the first from my viewpoint, it's definitely interesting to go back and check how other people are doing it currently when it pops up. And it's easy to apply and see like the same mistakes because it is very much a learning process that every time that I do a segment, even if it goes well, there's always like 2, 3, 4 things that I messed up heavily or moderately that really affected it. So it's very easy to look at somebody else and criticize the way they're doing it or inefficiencies. And I would just say the biggest thing by far that everybody messes up from what I've seen is they all grab clips from stream, which is not worth it because that's something everybody has already seen once, and it's more important to grab other things that happen in the map. There's 10 characters, there's always cool stuff that happens, and I feel like almost everybody just don't understand that, and it's killing their quality level by a pretty big factor. It's not like breaking the whole thing, but they're losing a lot of value by not taking a clip from somewhere else in the game if possible.
Yeah, and when you see a lot of clips in the live stream, or especially clips that are replayed immediately in the game, a lot of the time you'd initially think that's a good clip to use later on, but now we've seen it twice, it's not as fresh, and we do want to show some things that maybe the observer wasn't looking at, or that the audience wouldn't really have looked at in that much detail before.
And of course, there's going to be a whole slew of majors and minors coming up in the next season. I assume that you guys will, be wanting to bring your talents to those events. How do you feel about the upcoming schedule? Do you feel like that kind of stuff is going to be, a little too much? The schedule's a little too packed. Is there anything you'd like perhaps changed in the future?
It is packed tight. Can't complain. We did secure a minor and a major, but I'm curious how the qualifiers are going to work and how they're going to fit in all the teams and the back end, the staff, the talent, to be able to work that many events. And I think that there's going to be a lot of new budding talent that can jump into the scene, and teams as well. So.
Yeah, I won't work every major. There's no way, even if I was invited to all of them. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens in terms of how many talent work every event, who has a preference, and if it ends up creating more spots for more talent or things like that. I'm excited to see what happens, but I don't really know what to say.
Speaking of new talent, of course, there are going to be a lot of people who are kind of interested in this kind of stuff. What kind of you've got your own experience under your belt. If you had to give one piece of advice to new talent who are coming in and possibly trying to work these events, what kind of advice would you give?
There's a lot of different places you can work in the event, but usually we all have a lot of the same tools, and it's really how you utilize them. working with a piece of wood, you can make something like a crappy birdhouse or like something absolutely amazing. Terrible metaphor, but like, you know what I'm saying. And it's just a matter of really putting the work in advance to understand what you can work with and how you can stretch that and make it something unique.
Yeah, I would say to continue this wood analogy, I would say that a lot of people are very willing to craft something and then assume that it's good enough, and it's always important that the best people are usually very self-critical in that you can learn from your mistakes as you go. So all the best casters, or at least the ones that were most successful early, were very good at criticizing themselves, understanding what they were doing wrong, continuing to get better at Dota, all those things. And if you just kind of stagnate a little bit, kind of similar to like teams that win TI, they stagnate afterwards because they're like, oh, I'm successful. If you do that, it's really going to impact your ability to be talented. So as long as you're talented, you work hard, and you always refine yourself and make sure that you are becoming better, then you can be successful as talent. I believe that.
Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us, guys. Do you have any final shout-outs that you'd like to give before we close?
Shout out to Rob.
Shout-outs to Rob as well. No. TI8 Weatherman? No, just kidding. But yeah, thanks for having the time to interview us as well.
All right, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Be sure to subscribe for more content from the International.